Welcome back to the channel. If you're watching this video, then you're probably just as excited as everyone else in the Mongil Stardive community about the name people have been talking about the most lately, Naray. And honestly, I completely understand why. Ever since the first leaks about her started appearing, I've spent a lot of time digging deep into her entire kit numbers and tactical potential. Today, I'm going to share everything I know, from her lore to her skill mechanics to build ideas and team comps, so when her banner finally arrives, you'll be fully prepared. First, let's talk a little about the lore, because I think this is the part many people ignore, even though it's actually very important for understanding why Narae was designed this way. Narae is the younger sister of Mina, the nine-tailed spirit cat, and she's the only remaining family member the two sisters have left. That already sounds emotional, right? But what I find even more interesting is that this relationship isn't just there to create drama for cutscenes. It directly affects how Narai's kit was designed to synergize with Mina in gameplay. I'll explain more about that later. As for her personality, Narae is described as cold and rude toward almost everyone, the type of character you'd think doesn't care about anybody. But in reality, her entire life revolves around one goal: becoming strong enough to reduce the burden on her older sister, who carries the responsibility of being a divine maiden. That contrast, cold on the outside, completely devoted on the inside, is a level of psychological depth you rarely see in games of this genre. And I think that's exactly why Narai will become one of the most beloved characters in the series from a lore perspective. In episode 6, Flowers Blooming Through Scars, which features a very distinct classic style setting, the story of the two sisters is expected to reach a massive emotional climax. I'm genuinely looking forward to that part. Now let's move to the section I'm sure you've been waiting for the most: her skill kit. And I want to say this right from the start: Nare is not a normal support. She's an offensive supporter, and that distinction is extremely important when you think about how to build and play her. Starting with her basic attack, Dew Jade Barrage, Narai launches water bubbles that deal continuous ice damage. It sounds simple at first, but the interesting part is the third hit in the combo. If Narae is standing inside the area created by her special skill at that moment, which I'll explain in a second, the third attack becomes enhanced into an AoE explosion with incredibly beautiful visual effects powered by Unreal Engine 5. When I watched the gameplay, this part honestly looked amazing, especially the transparency and water lighting effects handled by UE 5.5. Her special skill is called Dew Blankets All, and this is the core of her entire kit. Narae creates a field called Graceful Dew that continuously deals ice damage, boosts ranged attack stats for the whole team, and generates special water bubbles. And this is the mechanic I think is absolutely genius. When those bubbles come into contact with fire damage, they explode and deal massive additional AoE ice damage. This is the unique fire-ice resonance mechanic I mentioned earlier. Basically, Narae was designed to be the perfect gameplay partner for Mina, not just from a lore perspective. Mina applies fire, Narae's bubbles explode. That loop is constant, efficient, and incredibly satisfying to play. Narae's ultimate is Bubble Spout. She summons a giant water bubble and slams it onto the battlefield, dealing huge AoE damage while also launching and knocking back enemies. What's especially crazy is that under optimized conditions, the cooldown of this skill can drop to around 3 seconds. That means you can maintain almost nonstop crowd control pressure, which is extremely powerful in modes like Dimensional Rift or Conquest, where controlling groups of enemies or bosses is critical. As for her switch skill, Prison of Dew, this is honestly one of my favorite parts of her design. When you swap to another character, Narai doesn't just disappear. She leaves behind a wave of water that pushes enemies away and throws a protective bubble onto the character entering the field. That bubble not only provides a shield, but can also imprison airborne enemies inside it. In the game's triple tag team system, this is an incredibly strong swap mechanic because it never wastes time. Whether you're actively controlling her or not, Nare is still contributing. Her passive skill, Blessings of the Morning Dew, is the reason I believe she can replace a traditional healer. Nare continuously provides passive shields, and the strength of those shields scales with both her ice resistance and attack stats. This creates an active defensive loop. You build damage on Narae, and she simultaneously deals more damage while also providing stronger shields. Not every traditional healer can do something like that. As for monsterlings, I personally think ice-focused monsterlings will be the best options for her, such as Ice Fist Dude, Moon Shadow Loop, and Brush Haunt Stack. Most of these monsters can currently be obtained from Rift content or by combining two monsters together, because right now I haven't really seen them appearing naturally out in the open world map. Now, I want to talk about team compositions, because this is the part where I think Narai's true value really shines. The first team, and in my opinion, the strongest one, is Mina and Narae as the core. This is basically the signature combo of the early game. Mina deals fire damage, Narai's bubbles constantly explode, creating a chain reaction that never stops. Add flare in the sub DPS slot to maximize fire damage output, while Narae keeps the entire team protected with shields. This team has an extremely high damage ceiling, although it can struggle a little with maintaining long-term fire affliction uptime, but overall this is probably the strongest meta core you can build right from the start. The second team is a pure ice control setup. You can use Sarah together with Narae and a character like Cloud Destroyer to stagger bosses much more easily. I'll be honest here, this team is not as strong as the Fire Ice team because the main DPS is Sarah, and Sarah is an epic character, so her damage ceiling is naturally lower. But if you don't have Mina yet, this is still a solid option for experiencing Narae's non-stop crowd control potential. The third team is something I find really interesting from a creative perspective, the Ranged Mastery team. Narae provides a very strong ranged ATK buff, and when combined with Esther, even though she's technically melee, many of Esther's skills can attack from range, plus G1 to gather enemies into one area. You get a team that can destroy enemies safely from a distance while barely worrying about getting approached. Narae pushes enemies away, G1 groups them together, Esther nukes everything. And the interesting part is that Narae can also buff some of G1's damage, because even though G1 is categorized as a support character, she still deals surprisingly good damage herself. This is not a team composition most people think about, but it works far better than expected. As for her position in the metagame, from almost every analysis I've seen so far, Narae is sitting at T-Nero in most game modes. In world and path content, her wide AoE and constant shields make mob clearing both fast and safe. In Conquest, her attack buffs and enemy defense reduction significantly shorten boss kill times. In Dimensional Rift, her crowd control and team sustain are practically unmatched at the moment. And with the upcoming legendary monster Reginula and the new Conquest stages, Narae is only going to become even more important. Finally, let's talk about her banner schedule. Based on the current information, Narae is expected to release on May 27th, 2026, right after Mina's banner ends. Her banner will likely last around 21 days, similar to other 5-star characters. Before that, there will be a live stream on May 21st, revealing more gameplay details and upcoming content like Legendary Monster Conquest and Boss Reginula. I'll update everything immediately after that live stream if we get more new information. And keep in mind, all of the analysis I've shared today is based on the previous beta test version, so there's always a chance things could change before her official release. For now, we'll just have to wait for her launch together. So the final question is, should you pull Narae? If you already have Mina, then my answer is almost mandatory. She is the perfect piece to optimize Mina's team to its highest potential. Even if you don't have Mina, Narae is still one of the most valuable characters you can own in the early game because of her ability to replace a traditional healer, buff-ranged ATK, and provide non-stop crowd control. Honestly, it's hard for me to find a reason not to pull her if you're trying to build a serious team. Personally, I'm definitely going to pull for her because my current team is still missing one strong support. Right now, I'm still using Francis whenever I need support for Mina and Flare, and honestly, they work pretty well together. Francis and Flare both buff Mina's damage output, allowing Mina to deal absolutely massive damage. If you haven't tried this combo yet, you definitely should. Use Flare's ultimate first, then switch to Francis, and finally switch to Mina to receive Francis's attack buff along with Flare's fire damage buff. Okay, that's everything I wanted to share about Naray today. If this video helped you, make sure to leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss the next analysis videos. I'll have full coverage of the May 21st live stream and a complete build breakdown once more official data becomes available. See you in the next video.